Started since it's 5:30. As was pointed out on the agenda, there's no minutes approved on there, so I believe that was an error. So we have 2 minutes to approve, one for the regularly scheduled July meeting, and then for the special meeting that we had. Has everybody had a chance to look those over, and are there any questions? And I need separate on those? So for those that were there, hope we get a motion and a second from somebody who was there. Does anybody have a motion for the July 7th regularly scheduled meeting?
Yeah, I'll make a motion for that.
Okay. Okay, Frank, and all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, so that's for the regularly scheduled meeting. For the special meeting from July 22nd, does anybody have any questions? Would anybody like to make a motion on that? Okay, Frank? Second, Ursula. Thank you. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, so the special meeting from July 22nd is good there. We'll start swearing in speakers. So if you've signed in to speak tonight, if you're going to be speaking, Mr. Perkins here will swear you in. And I'll sign these, get them down to you in the meantime.
You swear affirm statements you're about to make will be the truth, the best information, please. Very good. Thank you.
Thank you all. All right. I've got 2 signatures for the July 7th meeting. And then I've got 2 for the special meeting from July 22nd. Okay, we'll start with old applications. We have one on the docket there.
Good evening. My name is Mark Carper. I'm planner with the Planning Commission. Very happy to be here tonight. The application we're looking at was presented to the to the Board of Adjustments last month. We received new information, and so it's back, given that reassessment of that information. I do want to make a quick comment in regards to the staff report that was submitted and distributed. On the heading of that, I'd forgotten to change the date, so it should be August 4th. Beg your pardon?
Could you speak up a little louder?
I'll do my best. Okay. All right.
Is the
Plug my ears.
Is the mic on?
I think the mic just records.
It's just, okay. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. I beg your pardon. Yes, so we're reviewing this application. This is at 120 Blossom Park Drive. They're asking for a conditional use permit for a type 2 in-home daycare facility. The zoning district of this particular property is the R1C, which is single-family residential. There are a variety of surrounding zones around it, including A1, B5, B2, and R2. We are recommending approval of this application based upon the scale that's been proposed for this operation. Our assessment is based upon the site itself and doesn't necessarily address some extenuating circumstances around this particular application. So we evaluated the site based primarily just on its characteristics. Here's a map showing where that site is. It's the one outlined in red. And you can see the variety of zoning districts around it. Sir, can you hear me well enough?
I can hear you.
Okay, all right, good. Just want to make sure. Here's an aerial image of that site. This is the entrance, as you can see, to the development of Cherry Blossom. As I mentioned before, it does have some traffic calming characteristics to it with the median on the entrance, the curvature of the road, and that's part of design for calming traffic in general. So we'll talk about later, it does have a driveway which will have to be utilized for this purpose, and there is some on-street parking. According to our zoning regulations, A Type 2 daycare facility is defined as any home or dwelling unit which regularly provides care apart from the parents for 4, but not more than 12 children. The director's own preschool children shall be included in the number for which the home is licensed. Within this zone, it may be permitted as a conditional use. Conditional use are those which are essential to or would promote the public health, safety, or welfare in a zone in which it's designated, but which would impair the integrity and character of the zone in which is located or in adjoining zones unless restrictions in location, size, extent, and character of the performance are imposed in addition to those imposed by zoning regulation. In order to receive a conditional use, following 2 things are required: a statement of the factual determination by the Board of Adjustment which justifies the issuance of the permit, and a statement of the special conditions which must be met in order for the use to be permitted. In regards to what's proposed for this particular operation, they're proposing that the business hours would be from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Fridays, no operation on the weekends. There'd be a maximum of 5 children, all within the toddler range, which can be from infant to, well, a little bit older infant to about 5 or 6 years of age. There'd be 1 person on site, which is the owner, would be the supervisor. And according to the Kentucky state requirements, it does meet the ratio of caregiver to number of children for this kind of operation. Some of the issues to consider include parking. So for parking requirements, it does require 1 off-street parking spot for the operator, a staff member, and 1 off-street parking spot for every 6 children. Since there is 1 operator and 5 children, they have to have 2 parking spots available that are off-street. The parking area itself, the driveway, can accommodate up to 4 vehicles, 2 up against the garage door and 2 toward the base of the driveway itself, toward the sidewalk. Additionally, there are 2 spaces available in front of the house. A person could park. However, it is required for 2 off-street parking facilities, which we believe they have. So they do meet their requirements. If it were approved, staff would recommend that the 2 spaces at the foot of the driveway be reserved strictly for drop-off and pickup. Traffic, as mentioned before, this is entryway to the Cherry Blossom development. The entranceway does have calming features to try to address the amount of traffic going through. When this area was developed, it was estimated that it would have over 876 vehicle trips generated each day from that development. That did not include the golf course, which has since been developed further north of this particular site. Given the scale of this operation, no more than 10 vehicle trips would be generated from this operation, and staff feels that its impact would be negligible to the traffic flow along that street. The site itself has a fenced-in backyard, and no signs have been proposed for this business itself. I would like to speak a little bit about the importance of childcare. Did look at some studies. One included the 2023 Kids Count Data Book, and there's some information I gathered from that publication, which I present on this slide, that speak to the importance of childcare, not only for the development of the child, but for the parents' ability to support their families. More than a third of working adults have children, many of which rely upon child care services. It's estimated that shortcomings of the child care system cost the U.S. economy $122 billion a year through lost earnings, productivity, and tax revenue. Annual cost of care for one child has been up to 1/10 of a couple's average income and more than 1/3 of a single parent's income. The ranking, according to this publication of Kentucky, amongst all states for overall child well-being was 40, which they determine has to do in some part to the availability of, or inability, or unavailability of child care. Looking a bit closer at some of these characteristics, the child care aware has the following statistics they provide for Scott County. It states that there are 20 daycare facilities, 19 being licensed type 1, 0 being licensed type 2, and 1 certified family child care home. The licensed type 2 is different than the certified child care home. The applicant, our ordinance addresses type 1 and type 2 child care facilities. It doesn't specify certified family child care home. The requirements for that certification are very similar to what we have for licensed type 2 child care center. So that's the application being put forth for that particular use. I believe that the applicant would be pursuing the certified family child care home as opposed to a type 2 licensed facility. I just want to make that clear. From this information, you see that we have 405 of the the Child Care Assistance Program. 405 kids are enrolled in that program. We have a greater number of children under the age of 5 than we have capacity, according to the number of slots. We are not a child care desert, happy to say. The little URL you see on the right side, this is daycarecenters.us with some statistics. It states that there are 32 child care facilities in Georgetown, 5 of which are classified as centers and 27 classified as preschools. There's some variation in these statistics, as you can see. So, in regards to how our comprehensive plan addresses child care, under Human Services, it states that we should have access to basic standards of living and human services, which includes child care. The comprehensive plan espouses the goal of improving access to health and wellness services and declares increasing the availability of quality and affordable child care as a strategy to that end. Further iterates the following. With a growing community, it is essential to offer multiple high-quality, affordable, and accessible child care programs, especially for second shift workers and during times when school is not in session. Working adults face unique challenges such as transit to and from programs, early drop-off and later pickup windows, and evening programming for those working later shifts. It has been identified that while there are programs available, further reaching opportunities should be encouraged so as to best serve all working adults with children in Scott County. In regards to economic growth, the plan does identify a desire for strong and distinctive local economy and regional economic impact, and cite a need for diversified economic base and creation of more local businesses and job opportunities. Okay. So, as I mentioned, we are recommending approval for this application based on the following findings. Our ordinance does state that type 2 daycare facilities are permittable conditional use in the R1C zoning district. The proposed hours of operation are from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. The applicant stated the maximum of 5 children will be provided care. Proposed single care meets the state required staff to child ratio for daycare facilities. A minimum of 2 off-street parking spaces required. They would meet that requirement. The applicant property is positioned along a primary entryway into subdivision estimated to generate in excess of 876 daily vehicle trips. The proposed use of property is estimated to generate no more than 10 vehicle trips per day for drop-off and pickups. Staff is of the opinion that this number is minimal and will not negatively impact the traffic flow along this street. The accessibility of child care is important for the economic health of the community as well as for healthy childhood development. There is an identified need for improved access to child care within the state, the country, and the local community. The comprehensive plan explicitly espouses the importance of increasing the availability of quality and affordable child care as a means of improving access to health and wellness services. And the comprehensive plan promotes developing a diversified economic base and the creation of more local businesses and job opportunities. Based on these findings, we are recommending approval of the following conditions: that the property is subject to all requirements of Georgetown-Scott County zoning ordinance subdivision development regulations. The applicant shall comply with all requirements of other federal, state, and local regulatory entities, and shall provide copies to the Board of Adjustment of all permits issued on behalf of the applicant as a result of this approval, including, but not limited to, business-related certifications, licenses, regulatory permits, and any recertification when required. Conditional use permit is subject to annual review by the Board of Adjustments and/or staff and is non-transferable. The hours of operation shall be restricted from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Fridays. Child care services may be provided to a maximum of 5 children. During the hours of operation, the 2 parking spaces at the foot of the driveway shall be restricted to temporary parking for the purpose of dropping off and picking up. Any proposed new signage must meet the requirement of the City of Georgetown sign ordinance. The applicant shall return to the board prior to any changes in approved conditions or new uses. The conditional use permit shall become null and void upon the transfer of ownership of the sale of the project sites. Okay. Thank you very much, and if you have any questions for me, I'll be happy to respond.
Yeah, and I don't know, is the applicant here?
I don't see her this evening.
Oh, darn.
Yeah. She was made aware of this hearing.
Is that, we can still, we technically still can,
Well-
but that's not good.
Yeah, technically we can, but no, that's not good, because there's virtually always questions,
Yeah.
you know, that not only we might have, but certainly the public might have. Do we not get any notification that she might not be here or anything?
No, and we have correspondence. She was made aware of the date and time.
Darn. Okay, the only question I had, I don't know if you can answer this. Did she say specifically which ages that she was planning to,
She described it as toddlers.
Right.
She didn't specify age range.
so it could be 5 years old or less?
I'm not sure how you
guessing.
define toddlers.
I know.
Did she give us
from-
the ages last time?
Yeah, but last time I think she was anticipating 10, and now it's been.
I think there was uncertainty
Changed to
in
5.
terms of the requirements as opposed to what she was proposing to do.
Last time.
No, there was 10 in the application.
Well, in the application.
Right.
When she stood up here, it was 5.
Okay,
And I thought there were 4 and under, and one
Yeah.
of them was hers.
I guess that would be a toddler
They would be
guesstimate then.
young.
Shoot. Are we allowed to postpone again? Whoa, guys. Yeah, if I continue this tonight, your questions are gonna go unanswered.
That's okay. We want to make our statement public record.
Yeah,
We're here. She didn't show up.
she's the one that's applying for the application. We're trying to stop this, and she doesn't show up.
Any thoughts from staff on this?
The applicant's made aware of the schedule, the same as the public. Staffers presented the information that we've had available to us. At this point, I believe it'd be in the interest of the public's participation for them to be allowed to give testimony.
Okay.
Okay.
And we can, I hate making a decision without her. Okay. Well, if there's no other questions for staff, then I'll let everybody who wishes to speak tonight speak. I can't promise that this still won't be postponed. I'm not sure what decision we're going to make, but if you want to have your voices heard, to get that on record, since you showed up here tonight, we'll go ahead and do that. Any other questions for staff at this time? Okay. If you would be able to go in orderly order or follow the list, that would be fine, but anybody who wishes to speak can go right ahead. You want,
Kenneth Heil.
all right, Charlie, read off the list and we'll go from the top. Thanks, Charlie.
If I can say one thing before the gentleman.
Go ahead.
It is in the minutes. Less than 36 months of age is the maximum.
36 months of age was the maximum?
4 to 36 months, and then there's 5 total. That's the testimony.
And one of those is the applicant's own child. Okay, thank you. Okay.
Okay. My name's Ken Heil. I live on 110 Cherry Hill Drive. That's in the Cherry Hill HOA. I'm on the completely other side of this. I'm nowhere close to this, right? But the reason I'm here is because my friends who live over here, I think deserve to be represented by me too. I do have a question of Mr. Carper, if I may address him. Mr. Carper, you made a note about second shift workers. Why was that? Why would you make a note about that? This was supposed to be a 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Why would you say anything about second shift?
It was information on that report that I had presented.
There was a lot of information on there, but you brought that out specifically. Just asking. I do want to also recognize the daycare providers that already work here. I mean, already have businesses. How many thousands of dollars have they put in their business? How many employees do they have? How many taxes do they pay? Property taxes, business taxes, occupational taxes, right?
Excuse me, since I'm having to keep notes, I don't really understand what that comment was. I must have missed something at the beginning of it. Who are these people that you're talking about?
The current daycare providers that are out there, the licensed type 1,
Oh,
19.
The other
The ones who
daycares
were there.
Right.
All right, I
that are already
Those
in
people,
existence.
right? Those people, right? They have business. They spend tens of thousands of dollars in their business, right? 4 people, 4 kids that can't be absorbed into that doesn't sound right to me. So the second shift workers, the daycare businesses, you're going to find throughout other people's talking, there's a lot of direct information that is information that's being in conflict. For instance, this issue analysis, you're saying 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., right, Monday through Fridays. However, in the Cherry Blossom Village HOA comments, they said it was from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. Why would there be a difference? I know you don't know, and guess what? She's not here to say anything, right? I mean, to me, that doesn't look good. She's not very reliable if she can't show up. So I think that needs to be looked at. Item number 2, of course, you addressed this. Her initial application said at least 10 children. Has that been updated?
From the
reduced
minutes.
that standing right here. She reduced
But this
that.
was what was sent in the packet. The new number isn't in here.
The original application does say 10. That's what I was referring
That's right.
to.
Where's the new one? Right?
Does that,
Her new application, she reduced the number, saying that was in error in the first place.
Well, shouldn't there be something that says that instead of this?
Well, it's in the
it would be in the minutes. So if we,
Okay, we're talking about the minutes now, and it's in the minutes that it's
yeah.
4 or 5.
I believe.
5 including hers.
So if it were to be approved, that conditional use permit would specifically state 5
Right.
as the maximum. Go ahead.
So after the last meeting, I wrote to her via email
Uh-huh.
and asked for clarification of her business plan. And so she wrote back to me with these figures in terms of the 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday, the toddlers and such. So that was information represented on one slide showing her proposed operation.
But she told our HOA it was overnight stay, overnight. And you mentioned second shift, which will coincide with something overnight, right? 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. So there's something's wrong. Something's not accurate. I don't know which it is. Also, in fact, in one of her notes back, she said 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. to you all, to Mr. Carper. But again, to our HOA, they heard her talking about 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. You'll understand that. Also, when I was going through the document for daycare to providers, if it's 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., she cannot be employed in a position other than an on-site child care director. So is she not employed right now? Is she going to give that up? I don't know. That might be a question you ask, because that's in the requirements. In the requirements, it talks about numerous things. Another thing would be, but it triggered something different to me. It talked about director staff need to have substantiated any issues with child abuse, neglect, criminal records, or sex offender address check, right? Well, and I was thinking, What if we flip that around? Do we know within her house, has anybody done any research? Is there a sex offender within 1,000 feet of her house? I don't know. Can somebody look that up?
That
Would
was
that be-
provided in correspondence to us right before, like we.
Do what?
We just got that in correspondence tonight, that there is somebody listed on the sex registry there. Now, we
Okay.
haven't looked at it for ourselves yet,
Okay.
because we hadn't got that information yet.
So it appears to be so. So are you going to approve a childcare to go into an environment where a sex offender would not be allowed to live within 1,000 feet of a childcare provider? So I'm disappointed she's not here. There's a lot of people that took their time to come in here and talk about this and try to get some resolution. But that's all I've got. I don't have any, I mean, all I'm talking about is from what I've seen over the past 24 hours. There are numerous people in here, I think, that have more direct information on the discussion and the confusion around some of these issues. But I'm a believer in childcare. I mean, I got a 50-year-old son. I've got a 48-year-old son. And get this, I've got a 24-year-old son. 24. So I believe in childcare. I love children. But from a planning and zoning, there are some things that have to be answered. And obviously, her not appearing tonight does not reflect very well. So that's all I've got.
Okay, thank you. Oh, did you want to read the next one, or? Okay, go right ahead.
Your name, please.
Hi, I'm Linda Angel, and I reside at 100 Spyglass Drive, and I was one of the recipients of the notification that arrived on June 23rd. I was the one that made folks aware in our neighborhood. We are a tight-knit group. We are a residential neighborhood. So thank you for letting me speak here today. And I agree with last time where we denied it at the July 7th meeting. And some of the issues that remain, and kind of a repeat, but traffic issues and safety are at the top of the list because we are a residential area, and I'm located at one of the highest traffic and entrances there behind Planet Fitness. That is a horrendous area. I know they've done several studies, but those were like 7 years ago, 5 years ago. Our population in Georgetown grows 2%, and we are now probably at 41,300. So with the growth at Toyota, it's brought on more people. Our residents are going to, there's 350 homes in our area with 50 more proposed. So that's going to bring in more contractors, more trucks coming in, vendors coming in to visit, to pick out cabinets, et cetera, to deliver this and that. It's like a freeway. If you sat at my house and clocked vehicles, I sat out there with a member of our former HOA group. It was horrendous what they saw. I see it every day. And I have Planet Fitness behind my house, and that is another increase in traffic. People cut through, they speed through there, especially the ones that come after 5 o'clock, between 5 and 2 a.m. It's just a racetrack. You said that, Mr. Harper, you had talked in your original that said that is one of the highest areas of concentration in the city, that area where I live and where the applicant is residing. Let's see, there are neighborhood HOA and restrictions that are recorded and have been understood in the past and adhered to. And one of the restrictions prohibits home businesses where operation is detectable by sight, sound, or smell. In regards to no parking, no vehicle in our development is to be parked on the street for any length of time. It's only short-term parking. And where you were talking about that, the parking, when you put that diagram up there, one car can probably park in front of their house. If if you put 2, it's going on to the neighbor's property where the neighbors at the first house live. And you can't block the driveway, so you can't consider that one. So that's are my thoughts on that. And no signs. You can't put a sign. HOA does not allow any signs in our neighborhood except for sale or for rent only. In general, residents have applied through all of our restrictions since the beginning of Cherry Blossom and the HOA. Regarding childcare, the applicant has been all over the board. The first time when I saw this, I went online and it said 10. Here at the meeting, she said 4. And to clarify, she has 1 child, and I know in some of the text that you have there in the presentation, it says her children. She has 1 toddler, okay? And she had met with the HOA several times, and she told them, and I have an email that states that she is thinking about keeping 1 child from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. at her house. And I have that from the HOA board members. And then they approached her again, and they said that they told her that the developer would not approve it. So she said, and I have an email that states that, and he told me to communicate it to my peers, and I did, that said she was going to withdraw her application. Once she found that out, she was going to withdraw. And that was like a week ago on a Thursday. I called Mark because something told me just to go in and see. So I did, and no, she hadn't. I told Mark said she was going to withdraw. He said he hadn't heard from her. He was going to call her. And so he called her, and then he called me back and says, no, she is not withdrawing her application.
Was that the application to the HOA
No, the application for the childcare.
for this? For this
Yes.
application? Okay.
So good thing I went in and checked. So I let most of my neighbors that I could let them know, so, because we're all on the same page. We've all, it is a residential neighborhood. We've all been there. These are homes that we have saved for and probably will die in. You know, these are our homes, and it says Cherry Blossom Residential. So, but if you allow one business to come in, it's going to snowball. You're opening Pandora's box for another business, service, residential area. It's just going to be a mix. So there's no residential to that if it is opened once. And she knew of the meeting. Mark talked to her on that Thursday when I called him, and she knew of the meeting, so I'm not sure why she's not here. And it's not that we dislike her, it's just we just do not want this business in our residential area because it will snowball. And it could eventually affect the value of our homes. So we are asking you all to deny this application. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And just to clarify, at the last meeting, it wasn't denied, it was postponed to
Well-
today, so I just wanted to make sure you were aware of that. And there was no signage in the application, correct?
There's no signs proposed,
And
and
if-
conversation with her, she does not plan to have any signs.
Right, and if she did, she would have to reapply, correct? That's on,
Yes.
any proposed new signage must meet the requirements of city and Georgetown sign ordinance, so that would have to come back to us, correct?
Yes, and
Okay.
the signs are just limited to 5 square.
Okay.
feet.
Okay,
Well, let me clarify that too. Also, on the last meeting, it was their recommendation to deny. It was presented and you all tabled it.
correct.
But
Yes,
his
that's correct.
recommendation was
That's
to deny.
correct, yes, that's
Okay.
right.
May I have comments about that?
Sure.
Just a quick comment regarding to the shift. Thank you very much.
And the first consideration is based upon the scale that understood the operation to be, there to be 10 children. I think in terms of how she had interpreted the requirements, is that it could be up to 12 kids, and this is just a statement. It wasn't clear on how many she would actually be providing for. So once we got clarification, the scale was decreased. Looking at the primarily availability of parking, so it requires only 2 off-street parking sites, which I do think this fulfills, and the limited increase or limited vehicle trips generated by this proposed application.
Okay.
So those are deciding factors in shifting our recommendation.
Okay, thank you. Yes,
I looked at one comment. May I say
Go right
something
ahead.
real quick, please?
Sure.
Thank you.
mm-hmm,
Here is a copy of the different types of childcare in home and facility.
thank you.
And she's applying for the second one on there.
Type 2.
Type 2.
Mm-hmm. That's correct, right? Type 2?
According to the way we define it.
Right.
And, but we put out, we have a Facebook page for our Cherry Blossom Friends, and I put out just a reminder, everybody to come, if they want to come and attend. And she replied in there, it says, I work full-time. She works for Bluegrass Community Partnership or something with KNEC, Kentucky NEC, with helping people. And then on here it says, not to be employed other than child care directors. So if she's gonna switch over and do the 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., she can't be employed at her full-time job with Bluegrass Community Services. So,
Okay, thank you. And Charlie, we'll make sure we get this copy to you for the record that she handed us. Do you need a copy of that?
Yes.
Okay. Who do you have there next?
Cassandra Barker?
Oh, that's for Dutch Brothers.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Chris, somebody on Sunnydale Drive?
Hello, everyone. My name is Chris Mahonsky. I used to live over there on Spyglass years ago, and there was a lot of traffic back then, prior to the fitness center coming in, and Jersey Mike's, and the hotel, and everything else. There's quite a bit of traffic back and forth now. I'll make trips over to Lowe's, and it's a bear to get out of there through the day, just from traffic coming through to get over to the other side, or to get gas, or to go get coffee. But reason I wanted to come up here and state, I'm a little concerned that I know 3 individuals that were denied businesses in the community from the HOA. They said we weren't allowed to have. One was for golf, one was for hair, and the other one was for an individual wanted to have a thing to where he had a gun business where he'd order guns and then ship them to you, or order gun parts and then ship them to you. They wouldn't let him have it either. So I'm just, don't understand and how we got this far without checking with the HOA or anything like that, to where all this stuff could come in for childcare. The other concern I got is I looked up, there is a sex offender located very close to the property. So if somebody want to start a business and that individual happened to be there for years, you automatically, can you kick him out? Can you just say, look, you can't, you got to go? That's not fair to an individual that's trying to make his life straight again. Who knows if he's ever done anything wrong or other than what he's got accused for the first time. That's not fair to throw somebody out of their premises just because somebody wants to have a daycare that they can't even make sure what time they want. Because I was told it's for second shift, for the second shift employees, or Toyota employees. I used to work second shift there. And it's not from 6 to 6 in the morning. It might be 5:15 till 5 in the morning. And then you got the other shifts overlapping. So you're talking 10,000 people now, roughly 4,500 on first shift and 4,500 on second shift, plus the contractors out there. you're talking quite a bit of people coming in and out of there. And it's changed as far as the traffic. So I live up on Sunningdale, and when they opened up the new road that was supposed to just be a cul-de-sac that they just put in, there's like a highway in there. People were racing through there. I had a guy come from the barn, 2 kids were racing their cars, locked them up in front of my house, took the corner and took off. But they're doing the same thing down there coming from the fitness center. I've seen it. It's dangerous. It's a bad turn right there on that edge. If you're too fast, you're not gonna correct. You're gonna go right through one of those houses. It's a bad area down there. I mean, it was bad when I was down there 15 years ago. Lived on Spyglass. I used to go to work every morning. And where these numbers come up, where there are only X amount of cars going through there a day, there's no way. No way. You go look at it now or monitor it now, I'll tell you another thing, go through there between 3 and 6 o'clock in the afternoon. If any of you live in Georgetown, you know what it's like here. It's a zoo. There's a death trap out there. They just had a major accident in front of Chick-fil-A. That's why all the traffic's cracked up. Guess where they're gonna go through when they can't get out? They're cut right through Cherry Blossom. There used to be a racetrack at 3:30 in the morning. That'd be the thing the guys would do. Let's see who can beat each other across town, and it still goes on. So I think it's a bad idea to have a business in that subdivision, in our subdivision. We've been turned down 3 times now by the HOA. And I don't know per paragraph 27 of the DOR, deed of restrictions, approval must be required by the developer. The developer said no. She has been advised, and she said she would withdraw her conditional use permit. So now here we are again. This was in the last meeting that I wasn't in town for. But here we are again going at this again. So how many times are we gonna change this till we can get it to approve for her to do this? It's just a, well, it didn't happen, it didn't work this time, I'll try something else. I'll try this. Mark, you stated it was second shift that she was gonna be taking daycare for. Now, it's right there in black and white. Now, right now, it's 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. It's still a race track. This is crazy. Somebody's gonna get killed. I tell you what, somebody's gonna have a bad accident on that turn, getting in and out of their car. I don't understand. It's just, you're talking little kids. And one of them gets killed. Your name's gonna be on it for approval. I'm telling you, y'all need to get out there and just see what's going on. And when if they shut the bridge down, it's gonna get worse. The bridge here at Cherry Blossom, they're talking about redoing. I don't know if they're gonna shut it down completely. It's gonna open it up again. A lot of us go from the Cherry Blossom from the golf course over to get to eat. So do the golfers. They race over to the gas station, get something to eat, come back. It's a catastrophe waiting to happen. One other thing, Eric, I have I know this young lady, she gets the Facebook things because I've seen her last comment that she put on Cherry Blossom Friends, responding to Linda's thing that she didn't know it was I can't get mine to open up now. Didn't know it was gonna upset so many people about this situation. If she'd known it was gonna happen like this, she would have said no in the beginning. Well, if you're gonna make the statement you're gonna say no in the beginning, you can say no now and cancel everything and eliminate all this. Let me see if I can get I'm not getting a signal. But it's on the post that Linda Angel made. It's the 6th comment. If you've got Cherry Blossom Friends, you can look at it. It's from Sarah. So I'm just a little puzzled that she made the statement she was gonna retract it. Now she makes the statement that if she known it was gonna be that bad, this much of an upset in the community, she would have said no, but she's still pursuing it. Something doesn't make sense. They don't have their facts right. They got second shift, then 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. And is 5 gonna turn into 10? Anybody gonna monitor this? Think about that. Nothing's been right to begin with from her first time. It's all changing, and she's not here tonight. That's what puzzles me. If it's so important to you, you would be here. You would show up, make sure that you're representing yourself, instead of somebody that's writing all this paperwork for you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Mahansky. M-A-H-O-N-S-K-I.
Great, no wonder I missed
Can staff speak to the HOA process as far as if that's first or after this, since that's come up?
So just as a general rule of thumb, staff does not enforce HOA covenants, deeds, or restrictions. So in this case, we are reviewing this through the planning and zoning lens, which is, again, what Mark's presentation was about tonight.
And they don't have to go to the HOA before they,
Whether they did or
Submit
did
that.
not, that would be out of our realm of
Right,
of jurisdiction.
okay, that's what I thought. Just want to make sure. Go right ahead.
I'm Bill Keller. I don't typically need a microphone, but it'll be recorded. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on things that have already been mentioned, other than I am not for this. I have been on the HOA before. I want to clarify the current HOA situation in Cherry Blossom, that it's not a household or residential voted-in board. It is a developer board. And we all know what happened years ago in Canewood when that was a developer's board, and they had to go to take them and litigate them out. But the HOA did exist up until, I believe it was January of this calendar year, and then the developer took it over and appointed his constituents or people that live in the neighborhood, some of which don't, and the developer doesn't even live in the neighborhood. So people, when you say HOA, it's kind of hard to distinguish which one you're talking about. We'll call the neighborhood or the residents that are here use a resident Cherry Blossom Friends situation on Facebook, and then the developer has one that he uses for the Cherry Blossom Golf Club, of which he is the owner of. One of the things that I have over time looked at is the HOA piece, and certainly within the deed of restrictions, in every one of the phases in that neighborhood, all the way through phase 10, there's a restriction of having home businesses in it. And I sent this restriction on phase 3, which is this particular address, is part of that to Mark on Friday. Hi, Mark. And made him aware of that. And that kind of tunes into the first point underneath your zoning regulations is said unless an adjoining zone or use, unless restrictions on location. Now, while you may not investigate all those restrictions, the point is that if you don't enforce one that's registered and filed with the Scott County Court, and the deed book was in there and you can look at what deed it was, then what's the point of having any restrictions? What you're saying is that we can just go around any restriction that's in this, it's filed by a developer, because it doesn't mean anything to people on this board or planning and zoning. So I would caution you to do that and not do that and allow that to go around. A couple pieces that I wanted to bring up. There was, and I think there was a great report that you put together, but I had questioned the drive, if you will, the parking situation. She answered your question when you gave her some feedback that she could park 3 in the driveway, but yet your presentation said 4 tonight. the other part of that is those cars that are, whether 3 or 4 or whatever you want to call it, are going to be on the sidewalk. They're going to be parked on that sidewalk. Okay? So if you have cars in the street that is supposedly only parking on one side of the street and it's posted, and let's just say it's posted on the other side, and so the cars that are coming into the neighborhood and coming out of the neighborhood have to dodge around maybe 2, 3 cars that are on her side of the street and potentially one that's backing out. Is that not an accident that's waiting to happen? And some little kid's probably gonna get hurt in that accident. So while you did all the street measurement of 45 feet in frontage from hers through her driveway, I would guarantee you that if you went back and measured from her property line to that traffic berm that's there, it's not 45 feet. So you need to go back and look at that. There's just a traffic congestion and then some there with that whole piece. And then the piece on that is just, I can't, and Chris addressed it, and I know Linda has addressed it, the amount of speeding that goes through that neighborhood, whether you're coming in that entrance or you're going out of that entrance, it's unbelievable. You know, I get tailgated when I want to go 25 or 27 miles an hour, and I have neighbors tailgating me and to get out. So I'm not going to go through anything else. I think people have already mentioned a lot of the points. At parking, traffic, I don't know how you cap a license at 5, because somebody's going to have to enforce that license. This board will not be the board that enforces it. You're going to push that onto somebody else in another regulatory agency to have to do that. And I believe the license that she falls underneath in her request is a 10 count. So how do you cap the 10 count at 5? So it's just one of those things that I think there's a lot of things that still need to be answered and addressed before you even think about approving it. All right, thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
And who's gonna monitor the age? As well, I didn't sign up to speak. Who's gonna monitor the age? She says she's gonna keep up to 36.
If you want to speak, you have to sign in and swear in. I'm sorry. If you want to come ask that question, that'd be great.
Randy Blankenship, and I live there on the street where this is going to be located, the daycare, and we were talking about the traffic. All the traffic comes through there, 800 and some cars or something a day or whatever like that. That's a whole lot of cars, but what we're actually concerned about too is the safety. I don't know if you all have been through there and know what Bill's talking about. The little island on the entrance coming in Cherry Blossom, it's got the flowers and stuff, concrete around it, so it goes into one lane going out, one lane on the other side with a barrier there. Are y'all familiar with that?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, great. I like to hear that. So at 6 a.m. in the morning, I live on that street. People's coming out of there going to work. 25 miles per hour zone, they pay no attention to that because I live right there in the curve. I see it, I hear it of a morning. When they come down through there, trying to get to work, they're there, okay, which she told us that it'd be in the nighttime when she'd be keeping the kids. Okay, I know I'm getting bored. Looks like, you're all about to go to sleep there. But what I'm talking about
Just listening
here,
intently.
I'm sorry.
Just listening.
But what I'm talking about is those cars come down through there flying, trying to go to work. You got 400 homes in there that people are trying to get to work of a morning. If they've got those kids there, trying to get them out, parked on the street, that is a very, very dangerous situation because they can't get over. If there's 2 cars there, would you say there's one, but now it ain't going to be 1 car parked there. If there's 2 families, 3 families pull in there at the same time, you're going to have 3 or 4 cars there. Those people that own the place want to put this in. They've got a couple of vehicles themselves that takes up the spots in the driveway. So it's not there. The room's not there for them to get on. So these cars are gonna be coming out of there flying. These kids are gonna be put in danger because they can't get out and get around this traffic for the traffic island that's in the middle. So that's all I've got to say. But the other thing is too, is that is a problem if you let them move in. This, or not move in, but have this business here. If that doesn't affect the value of people's homes around there, then, boy, I tell you what, you need to go back and reevaluate. Would you want a daycare center moved inside your house? If you're living in a $400,000 or $500,000, $600,000 home, would you want a daycare moved in next to you? And your value, if somebody comes into your house is for sale, as soon as they find that out, boom, they're gone. Thank you. They will not buy it.
Good.
The only one we have left is Lynette Mills,
And it's not with this.
and it's not with this.
Okay. Is there any other comments or anybody that wishes to speak on behalf of this application?
Gentleman over there in the corner, the one that's me.
Yeah, that's true. Go right ahead. Have you signed in?
No, I haven't.
Could you,
Charlie signed me in.
You're good for it.
Thank you.
well,
Appreciate that.
You still have to give him the oath, though.
You don't take your word for it. You swear affirm.
Oh, I do. You know I do.
All right, thank you. Go right ahead.
I used to live in Craigmore Estates out on Craig Lane. And all of a sudden, we decided, or we didn't, but somebody decided they were going to have a dog kennel out there. Charlie might remember that.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, this is sort of the same thing. When we bought in Craig Lane, we bought it before any dog kennel was there. And they did not ask for permission to do it, they just did it. And it took forever to, I don't know if they're still there or not. We moved out. We moved out here to Cherry Blossom. And now we're talking about, well, we're gonna have home business here. And it's sort of like a dam. You get a little finger hole in a dam, and if you let it go on, it'll get bigger and bigger and bigger until all of a sudden you can't stop the water from coming out. And it seems to me, when I bought the property, I'm not right on that street that Randy's on, but I'm close to it. You know, we buy this stuff before there's no business there. And it shouldn't be allowed to come in now. That's all I got to say, Charlie. Thank you. Appreciate it. You get me signed in, didn't you? Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Lastly, I want to say something.
Go right ahead.
Swear me in, Charlie. You swear affirm.
I do.
Thank you, sir.
And you have all the information there, Charlie?
My name is Greg Smith. I live on Glendale Circle. All I'm going to say is, it's not fair to this guy who's a sex offender that lives there for you to approve this. And he's lived there, we don't know how many years. And you approve this, and you're going to tell that guy, well, you can't live there anymore. You're going to have to move because we're going to approve a daycare. And he's paid $600,000 for his house, and you're going to make him move out? Not fair. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I'll speak for what Donnie was going to speak about, was on the regulating the children to 36 months, who's going to regulate that, you know, after they become 36 months in age, you know? So curious on that. And I have a letter here from Julie McKee. She's one of our residents. Her husband is here. So I'm going to read this letter that Julie wrote to Mark. Please consider this communication as one of strong opposition to the application by Serena Alfaro of 120 Blossom Park Drive for granting of a conditional use permit to open a daycare center in her home. My opposition is based on the following points. This would be an unfortunate precedent that will allow businesses of all kinds to establish in our neighborhood. The Cherry Blossom Village was never intended to be a place for public-facing businesses, but a neighborhood to enjoy residential activities. This will be the Pandora's box to allow this, and a residential neighborhood quickly becomes a mixed-use parcel in the county. At past hearing in her application, Ms. Alfaro states she is planning to apply for a Type 2 licensed child care home. But in a recent Facebook post regarding her situation, Ms. Alfaro states she is applying to be a certified family child care home as defined and regulated by 922 KAR 2.100. While she states that she will have 2 children, this certification allows for a total of 10 children, 6 being unrelated. After being granted a conditional use permit, there would be no reason for her to have the maximum children, and there will be no checks and balances from the county to assure that she is limiting her unrelated children to 2. Being able to accept payments from CCAP, that's Child Care Assistance Program, it would be lucrative to have 6 children being covered by that program. There would be no reason not to. Thus, more traffic, more noise. Additionally, this particular address is at a point in our neighborhood that will make visiting cars a nuisance at best and a danger at worst. The design of the ingress or egress is intentionally curved, a detail that is an effective traffic slowing feature. It also has a median, which limits vision for parents delivering and collecting children. To have cars parking in this area at all of the Toyota shift changes is a concern, as they would be complicating one of the main entrances to the neighborhood, regardless of the time of day. I implore the governing board tasked with this decision to recommend denial. I appreciate the opportunity to speak. And just one thing I wanted to point out, if you all will notice, my house is on the right there, and I have the island that's behind my driveway. Right now, I've lived there 22 years. In the beginning, it wasn't bad. But recently, it's a nightmare to get out of my driveway. As you see, you have the island there. I have to back out and pull into oncoming traffic and then merge over to the right. People that don't live there think I'm nuts or I'm wacko. But the people that know me and know where I live, they know that I'm coming out my driveway just to get out onto the road. It's definitely a challenge. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Sure, go right ahead.
Is any decision you all come with tonight, any approval of anything, the next step is a Scott County Fiscal Court, is that correct?
No.
Yes?
No.
No, this is it?
Nothing goes from here to the fiscal court. An appeal of what goes here goes to circuit court.
So the fiscal court has no?
No, nothing.
Okay, so my information is incorrect. So I thought that the fiscal court reviewed your all's recommendations.
No.
Okay. So, and regarding the children that are supposedly going to be in this 3 to 5, trying to that, and we still don't know. Is it 6 in the morning and 6 at night, right? Are they going to be arriving in the dark? Are they going to be leaving when it's dark? 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., things are different throughout the year, right? These young kids are put in danger in that kind of environment. Of all of you who have children, I'd be surprised if none of you have been ever scared that your child has got out of your grasp, right? And are about to get in trouble because of cars or whatever, or pedestrians moving around getting run over. So it only takes one time. This isn't a place to happen. So we look forward to hearing your discussion.
Fine. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question.
Sure.
I won't be a formal speaker, but I remember when we bought our property, we had never been in an HOA before. I really had no idea how they work. But I understand now that we had to sign, we were given a covenant And we knew that when we bought that property, these were the restrictions under which we would live and by which we would abide. And we signed that and took that, we took that to heart. I would like to have a garden, but I don't think it would, I'm not a very good gardener, but I would like to have a garden, but that's not, I'm restricted, I'm not allowed to do that. And to me, that's what we signed on to. This person who owns this property has apparently signed on to the same restrictions when the property was purchased. And there's the reason of not letting it's already been denied by the HOA. But even if you don't enforce HOA rules, you have a person who wants to break that agreement. And now, how would you expect that person to be expected to stay within the parameters of an exceptional agreement for her benefit? And she's not here.
Yeah, is that your question?
That's my question.
Yeah, I mean, she's not here, yeah, there's,
She's not here, but
no.
if she's not willing to accept what she signed on with the HOA covenant, why would we expect her to do the same with this, even if it were allowed, which it's already been denied by the HOA?
If they approve it, you can have your garden.
That's the thing.
Do you need her to swear in on that one?
No, I've heard about her gardening. We don't want that in the road.
Okay.
Let me add one thing to the HOA discussion. Holding, of course, is correct. We don't enforce that, period. That's a private contract, that's not us. Now, that's not to say that that's not a factor that we can't consider, especially when you got half the room showing up, who are residents out there. But that should never be the only reason we turn something down.
Right.
But it can certainly be a factor among,
Okay.
things you've got to consider.
Okay. Go ahead. I won't forget you.
No. I just want to
Go ahead.
kind of wrap this up because I feel like we're getting close to the end.
Sure.
So just to clarify again, the case that we've been asked to review tonight is for a conditional use permit. And the definition, KRS 100.111, what we're looking at is a use which is essential to or promote the public health, safety, or welfare in one or more zones, but which would impair the integrity and character of a zone in which it is located, or in adjoining zones, unless restrictions on location, size, extent, and character of the performance are imposed in addition to those imposed in the zoning regulation. So the assumption here, and this is I think paramount to the discussion, is unless we feel like we can put adequate requirements on this development, this board should not approve this. Charlie clarified that the HOA typically enforces its own requirements. When it comes to the conditions that staff has put forward currently, it is staff's job to enforce those conditions. We wouldn't put a condition on there unless we felt we could enforce on those. And so again, that's that question, is it 10, is it 6? We have conditioned that it be no more than 5. And so we reserve the right to do a yearly inspection on conditional use permits. So we would be checking and enforcing on that particular item. The question was 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. or 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. We've conditioned that it's 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. And so that would be what we are enforcing on. The question past all of this, though, are these conditions sufficient to reducing the impacts on the neighborhood? Obviously, it's at your discretion that you can add as many more conditions as you'd like. But at the end of the day, if you don't feel like we can meet that threshold and eliminate reasonable impacts to the neighborhood, then it's well within your authority to deny this. And so as questions come up, staff, again, has provided a report based on the information we're provided. And staff, we can't speculate on any of these other very important questions that have been brought forward.
Right. Yeah, thank you. I understand.
Oh.
Go ahead. Yes, sir. Did you have a question?
He answered.
Okay.
I have a comment.
Okay. Go right ahead.
Just a lot of nice talking there, and a lot of nice. Did you go to law school? No? Maybe you should. But really, it's common sense. She's not here. You said half the room is here? No. We filled the room up.
There's
We do? Okay. So anybody here want to raise their hand that, hey, we should, that's in here for, with HOA says we should do this, or that we think it's the right thing? I don't think you see it. So, yeah, a lot of nice talking there, but it's really common sense. That's all I got.
Okay, thank you. All right, any comments from the board? Can we, if we made a motion to deny, could we deny because the applicant is not here to answer important questions?
Well, I think that's one of the reasons. I wouldn't bank it all on that. I think that's a significant reason, but I don't think that should be the only one. No, I think as Holden pointed out, if you have doubts that we have sufficient conditions to overcome, you know, the traffic in the entrance to the subdivision, the medians, the curves, and, you know, lack of parking and all of that, the ability to enforce the 5 children, other than once a year inspections, then you have every right to say no. Because the whole point of a conditional use permit is, one, it has to be listed in the ordinance, this is. It has to be something that benefits the community, this would. But it also has got to have no adverse impact on the neighborhood that we can't put a condition in place to minimize.
I'll look up online real quick about that sex offender thing.
I don't even know how to tackle that one.
I do.
Anybody else on the board to say anything? Do you want to weigh in on that, or is it going to be a while?
It'll be just a moment, just to verify it.
Okay.
That definitely would change.
I mean, yeah, I don't even know if we need to
change
go into that. Does anybody want to make a motion specifically?
I can,
Okay.
if I will. I move that we deny for a variety of reasons, none of which is predominant over any of the others.
I mean, so from what I wrote down was the enforcement, the fact that it's a very dangerous area, traffic, parking, and we have a lot of important questions that we can't answer right now. And I don't know how you could put it into your motion, but, you know, we also have a supposedly, you know, sex offender in the area and how that would complicate things, and I don't even know how to begin to answer those questions. So that's what's coming to my mind, if that helps your motion at all.
You know, I understand that issue. I had no idea how to work it into a motion.
I don't know either.
And
I don't know either.
think you need to.
Okay.
I think,
I would just recommend lacking the findings to grant.
Right, that would be part of like unanswered
yeah,
questions.
that's, I just think we
Okay.
leave that one completely alone. Because I think there's more than enough on the floor. And by the way, half the floor, there's still a whole lot of open floor here. You're talking chairs, I'm talking floor. But there are ample
Okay.
issues here that have been raised.
Okay.
And I think the one thing you said was we can't answer them all. Well, we can't answer them all because the applicant isn't here
So, yeah.
to provide any countervailing information.
Okay.
And I think that would be part of it.
So if that helps with your motion, that's all that was coming to my mind that I wrote down.
Well, but I also need the movement to not just say a bunch of different reasons.
Okay, understood.
I want
You
her
want
to
me to
give me those
reword it?
reasons.
Right, yep, go right ahead.
All right, I move we deny it for the reason of the applicant not being present, the question unanswered about a sex offender, and the conditions that we cannot determine can be enforced. Does that work? That's the conditions.
Did you want to, Charlie, did you want her to leave out the,
I'll get back to that in just a
okay.
second. I would also suggest you put in there that these traffic calming characteristics that have been put in there for the reason of calming traffic, which we might disagree on whether it does calm traffic, but those very things also make it very difficult to provide parking at this location. There's a median just a few feet to the right. There's a curve right, I think right in front of it. Yeah. You put those things together with the inordinate amount of traffic, and I even thought about Planet Fitness having one bid what was planned to be there in the first place.
Hang on one sec, guys, please. Hang on. Okay, yes, go right ahead. And he'll read it back to you.
Want to read it back?
I'm still writing.
Yeah. Yeah, just give us a few minutes to finish up here. Thank you. Go right ahead.
Motion to deny. Due to several, well, wait a minute. The use, though listed in the ordinance, and beneficial to the community. My fingers are getting awfully tired here. There are several issues raised which would make this difficult to enforce, such as numbers and ages of children. Also, the traffic calming features which were designed into the street would also make parking, which will limit safe parking and sufficient parking in this particular area. And the lack of any countervailing positions being presented due to the applicant's absence. Now, when you see this in the minutes, it might be in a different order, but you'll have all those points.
Okay. Is that okay for your motion?
Oh, I so moved.
Okay. Anybody want to second that?
Second.
Second by Frank. All those in favor of that motion, say aye. 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 Any opposed?
Thank you very much.
Okay, so the motion passes as presented. Thank you all. Thank you all for your time. We have a new application as well for section 3. Yeah, no problem.
5-minute recess, perhaps,
Do you need it? Yeah.
to let them, we should announce it for the
Yeah.
record.
It'd be 3 minutes. We'll take about 2 or 3 minutes for the room to clear and take a break if anybody needs to. Use the facilities. I don't want to keep the applicant waiting too long, so we appreciate your patience. If everybody's ready to go after a couple minutes, we can go. So we'll just give them a minute. We'll give them a minute to leave the room there.
Yeah, because they're going to be on the microphones probably.
All right, thank you, Rhett. Is everybody here and ready to go on this application? I don't think we missed anybody, so we'll go ahead and get started.
Okay.
Yeah, the best part of the crowd is right back here.
Yeah. Our next application is a variance application this evening at 100 Osborne Way, more commonly known as the previous O'Charlie site on the Walmart campus, for lack of a better term. It is a variance request to allow for additional wall signage on a newly constructed building that's been proposed. Zoning here is B5 General Commercial Park, which we'll discuss here in a moment, has its own design standards. It's just less than an acre, actually kind of divided in half, with this property being on its own parcel of a subdivided previous site. Again, Osborne Way off Cherry Blossom, staff is recommending approval. Thank you, Elise. Here's the parcel in question. It has been recently subdivided by a plat. So you'll see 98 is actually the northern side. The subject site in question there is 100, which is just the southern portion there. Again, just confirming our B5 General Commercial District Zone. When we review variance requests, we bounce those off of KRS 10243. Before any variance is granted, the board must find that the granting of a variance will not adversely affect the public health, safety, or welfare, will not alter the essential character of the general vicinity, will not cause a hazard or a nuisance to the public, will not allow an unreasonable circumvention of the requirements of the zoning regulations in making these findings. The board shall consider whether A, the requested variance arises from special circumstances which do not generally apply to land in the general vicinity or same zone. The strict application of the provisions of the regulation would deprive the applicant of the reasonable use of land or would create an unnecessary hardship on the applicant, and whether the circumstances are the result of actions of the applicant taken subsequent to the adoption of the zoning regulation from which relief is sought. Finally, Section 2 of it states that board shall deny any request for variance arising from circumstances that are a result of willful violations of the regulations. Okay. Going with that, it is the applicant's burden to provide justifying evidence to support their request. An administrative decision granting relief to having the burden of proof must be supported by findings of fact. And without such, the decision will be deemed arbitrary. Mark, I still have not shook my Sean Connery little list I've got going on today. This is the project site in question. We'll do a little bit of a more accessible view here in a moment. The green signs you see highlighted are the signs by right, wall signs, as well as a monument sign here in the southern. Actually, bear with me, I struggled with this too. This is actually not a north-south orientation. The package is kind of rotated 90 degrees. So cherry blossom would be running north to south there at the bottom of the rendering. So again, there is a monument sign proposed there at the eastern frontage along cherry blossom. And as you move through Osborne Way being the east-west, and then Osborne also curls around to the top of the render you see here. I hope that was confusing enough for you. So the applicant by right here also proposes this wall signage here on the what would be the southwest frontage there. They propose this here for the southeast frontage. Again, these two wall signs would be by right. Based on the ordinance in B5, you get essentially, if you're a double frontage or more parcel, you get two wall signs by right. Each can be no more than 150 square feet. I've got the square feet of each sign detailed here in just a moment. This would be the northwest elevation. Yes, I'll get myself oriented here again in just a moment. They don't propose any signage here. There will be directional signage, things of that nature on the campus and the project site. And then this is the variance request in question. Again, a small branding sign that would face essentially towards the direction of what would be the corner of Cherry Blossom and Osborne. Again, wall signs are limited to one per frontage, essentially in this zone at a maximum of 2, 150 square feet per sign, depending on how much linear frontage you have. Down here, I've got the signs as proposed. The variance is marked here. And then the total signage, again, roughly anywhere between 18 to 28 square feet per sign. Very minimalist sign package here we have at a total of just under 75 square feet. The sign in question they were asking for a variance to have an addition is 28.33 square feet. Again, it's that Dutch Brothers actual verbiage there. Section 6 of our sign ordinance states that in B5 zones, they are limited to one monument style sign as far as freestanding goes. Properties in these zones are not eligible for your traditional like pole style signs. So again, they're limited to a ground mounted sign, kind of monolithic style, maximum of 8 feet in height. So again, as noted, this monument sign by right is proposed at the project site's frontage along Cherry Blossom, perpendicular to the roadway itself, being south of Osborne Way. It really only benefits those that are traveling south to north along that corridor or have already essentially passed to the main turn-in if you're moving north to south. So that being said, it does provide visibility from that corridor. However, if you're going north to south, it doesn't really benefit motorway traffic for visibility. Also, especially because, well, I'll get to the other structure that's going to be on site in just a moment. Also, this site is within the envelope that would allow a interstate sign by conditional use permit. The owner here or the applicant has relinquished this right to pursue a interstate sign. In lieu of that, they would be able to pursue up to 150 square feet in additional signage that's provided by right. However, technically this does not apply to an additional wall sign. Typically, you would add the square footage to something you're permitted by right. But yet again, the owner is not exercising either of these rights to either apply for said sign or apply the square footage to an additional sign by right. So the red box here is the project site itself. I mentioned before that this is going to be subdivided, or actually has been subdivided, and there'll be another restaurant structure on the parcel. As you can see, the orientation of this business is such to allow for proper and safe circulation for a drive-through business through that access off the secondary, Osborne will call it, and then in and through. The second building there is oriented kind of perpendicular to Cherry Blossom with Osborne frontage as well. So from this side of the building, any signage that would be reoriented would be kind of nondescript to drivers along Osborne, et cetera. So staff finds that granting this additional signage would give them some greater visibility from that main intersection up there. Am I confusing y'all with the orientations yet? Because man, it drove me crazy. It truly did. Yeah, it truly.
They understand, the minister
Yeah.
has a clue, right?
Yes, Charlie, if you need a copy of this, just let me know. The applicant again has stated that denying the requested signage will create visibility issues. They have stated granting the additional wall signage will provide them with greater visibility from Osborne Way and Cherry Blossom Way toward the northeast. If the variance is denied, there will be no signage that is easily visible for traffic traveling south along Cherry Blossom Way from the vicinity of Toyota and beyond, north of Osborne Way. Staff has determined that denying the request for additional wall signage would create a lack of visibility, make it difficult to identify the business from the northern and eastern sides, as there is no signage proposed for either the north-facing sides of the building. Pole signs are not permissible in this zone, and the applicant is not exercising their right to an interstate sign that would rise above not only other line of sight issues in the area, but they'll also be beholden to certain landscape perimeter requirements, et cetera. Again, staff finds that if you have two sides of a building that are nondescript facing in towards a campus and a major intersection, it makes it pretty difficult to identify the business, both for wayfinding purposes and just general aesthetics. As such, we have found as staff that it's just under an acre size in a B5 zone. The Georgetown sign ordinance does give allowances and restrictions for signages within the zone. Project has 3 frontages. Staff has determined that denying the request for the additional wall sign would create a lack of visibility and make it difficult to identify the business from the northern and eastern sides. Variances requested and justification provided by the applicant meet the standards of KRS 100-243. Again, we do recommend approval with our 3 standard conditions, most importantly being applicant shall return to the board if any changes were to occur in their proposal. And also they have to follow all the other state, local, and federal guidelines, et cetera, et cetera. So again, I know that was kind of a lot and the orientation is a little different. Again, there'll be another building on this site that precludes sight lines, juxtaposition of the building as opposed to traffic and right-of-ways. And again, just the waving of the interstate sign, et cetera, limit visibility of the business.
Thank you, sir. Any questions for staff? Okay. Is there anybody, you don't have to add anything, but you can if you'd like to. Is there anybody against? Okay. 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 All right. Anybody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve per staff report and conditions.
Okay, thank you.
Second.
Ursula, second. All those in favor? Aye. You want to say it? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Motion passes as presented.
Ms. Gabbard, was it?
No, I'm Cassie. Well,
Cassie.
this is
Okay. I'll get you a approval letter for building inspection and all that.
And the, and thank you for your patience tonight. We appreciate you.
No, absolutely.
And the,
Try planning commission sometime.
Yeah, this was way more.
and letter B was postponed.
I'm sorry?
Letter B for new
Yes,
applications
yes,
was
the infill
postponed.
lot,
Okay.
Ely Avenue, yes, it's been postponed.
All right. Unless
Miss, did
anybody
you have
has anything
Thank you,
else?
Miss.
I'm on the next one, it's coming up with Fly Alley.
Okay.
Oh.
I don't know if we need to,
That's the one that got postponed.
yes.
Oh, no. I would check with staff on that, but yeah. Okay. All right, if nobody has anything else, then we'll adjourn. Thank you all for your time tonight. Appreciate it.